What's up, Tokos? It's Trent, aka TradeMark here, and I released a video back in November that talked about a visual display bug that was in Black Ops 2 when it first came out that had to do with the Master Killer title card. And the number one question that I get asked a lot on that video is how do you actually get Nuclear Killer or Chain Killer or Ultra Killer calling cards? So I'm going to be making a series of videos that explain my thought process on how I go for these different medals. And the reason that I picked this nuclear instead of one of my other gameplays, something like a double or triple nuclear, is because this nuclear that you see in the background I got yesterday when the Apocalypse map pack came out. And if any of you play the map packs on the first day they are out, you'll know that not very many noobs are on the DLC playlist the first day, and there were a lot of solid players that we were playing against in this game. 3 of the players on the other team were Prestige Masters, and the other 3 were solid players who were high up the Prestige chain. So they are definitely players who know what they're doing, who have a lot of experience with the game. And while it is easier to get a nuclear against noobs, I'm showing you that it's possible to do even against competent players, as long as you kind of take advantage of these tips. So let me just go through and kind of talk about what it takes. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is to play with a team. It's always easier to get a nuclear when you're in a team. The reasoning is that if you have a solid team you're playing with, first of all, your teammates are going to feed less kills to the enemies, which means that your enemies are going to have less score streaks. Secondly, if your teammates also run support streaks, so if your teammates run UAV, counter UAV, and VSAT, then you're going to get the stacking effect, where basically if you do it correctly and you have a really strong team, you're always going to have vision of the enemy team, because one of you is always going to be putting up a UAV or a VSAT, and you're also going to be blocking the enemy team's vision with counter UAVs and EMPs. So if you play with the team and you run vision score streaks, then it makes getting nuclears a lot easier. Next tip is to use perks that counteract some bullcrap that happens in this game. Things like Flak Jacket prevent you from, taking a random nade and dying. Toughness helps you to win your gunfights. Tac Mask prevents, a random flash or concussion grenade killing you. If you're running solo, then Ghost is not a bad idea. Blind Eye prevents random hunter-killer drones or random score streaks from killing you, which is the enemies might have some score streaks if you're running solo. So try and use those to prevent bullcrap deaths. My next recommendation is to use an assault rifle or LMG, and the reasoning behind this is that you want to try and stick to medium to long distance gunfights. You want to avoid close quarters combat at all costs, because that's where you get a lot of really quick deaths from one-shot kill weapons, or weapons like the Remington, KSG, hip-fire SMGs. You just have a lot of opportunities to die very quickly if you're in close quarters. So stay mid to long range for your fights if possible. Also avoid sniper rifles. Snipers just in general, because they can kill you really fast. Some of the guns I like to use are like the AN-94, the M8A1, the FAL. You can also use LMGs. I don't really use LMGs that much, but you don't have to use Scavenger if you use an LMG. And if you do use an LMG, please don't use a target finder. Unless it's like your first ever nuclear, I will let you off the hook. But if you consistently use LMGs with target finders, I hope you break your thumbs before Ghost comes out, so I don't have to play against you in that game. I just resent those weapons so much. Next of all, you want to play objective game modes that have instant respawns with a time limit, and you want to try and extend the time as long as possible so you have a greater amount of time to get your nuclear. You want to avoid any game types that you end quickly, especially if you're playing solo, because you can't really communicate with your team to extend the game. And my final tip for getting a nuclear is to play passively while cutting off the enemy's path to an objective. So if you go back and you watch this entire gameplay over again, you'll notice that I always try and position myself to cut the enemy team off from reaching the objective. Usually that ensures that the enemy, you're going to have a steady flow of enemies running towards you trying to reach the objective. And if you position yourself defensively, you can get a lot of free kills with them just running towards the objective. And basically those are my tips for getting a nuclear. I will post more videos that go more in depth on how I got a variety of medals like the Chain Killer, like Ultra Killer, like Nuked Out, and all of those things, because there are different ways of actually obtaining these medals. But I hope that this was helpful. Anyways guys, malo alpito, thanks for watching, and I'm out of here.